So, does Warner Brothers need to scrap Aquaman 2's 2022 release in order to save the film from really being not a burnout and not a flop necessarily, but not as profitable as what Warner Brothers would like and what DC would like in general? As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content here on Rants, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. All right. So I just want to get into this because I feel like this tells a lot about how DC views itself compared to, let's say, the MCU. Um, and it's not one of sheer confidence by any stretch of the imagination. I can't imagine that the MCU would be like, you know what? This Avatar 2 is going to be coming out at the same time. We're going to hold back a lot of our MCU films because we don't want to compete against that. The MCU just kind of goes at it of, you know what? People love the MCU. Everything, or mostly everything MCU related, have been hits. Um, and it shows confidence. And I feel like that is why the MCU is so much superior than DC's DCU. Like, I feel like that confidence alone details just where they are and how far apart Marvel is from DC at this point. But let's go ahead and let's get into this article on Screen Rant. It says with Warner Brothers' current movie release plan, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has no chance of succeeding at the box office in 2022. No matter how good it might be, its key struggle will be the DC Films competition coming out the same day with the current release date of December 16th. As it stands, Aquaman's sequel will be going up against James Cameron's long-awaited Avatar 2. This is a major mistake for several reasons. One of the biggest being the groundbreaking underwater filming techniques and motion capture CGI Cameron will be bringing to the table. It says following 2018's, just basically just goes into this about Aquaman and later on about Avatar. It says, however, no matter how exciting the film might be, going up against Avatar 2 is a losing battle. After all, there's a reason Avatar 2 has been nearly 13 years in the making. Going beyond the high anticipation for James Cameron's Avatar sequel as an obstacle, the majority of the film will be set underwater as it explores previously unseen regions of the planet Pandora. While the first film pushed the boundaries of motion capture with groundbreaking filming techniques and CGI, Cameron took so long with this sequel because he'd been waiting for the technology to catch up with his vision. As confirmed by behind the scenes set photos for Avatar 2, the sequel will more than likely push the limits once again. As a result, Aquaman 2 is unlikely to successfully compete with Avatar 2 if both underwater oriented films release on December 16th. I feel like that's kind of a nothing burger in that regard. In that one point, I feel like, oh, well, both are going to be set underwater, so, can't have that. I don't think that's necessarily a recipe for success. I mean, disaster in that way. It says if the film is to succeed despite Avatar 2, Warner's Warner Brothers should seriously think about changing the release date for their upcoming DC film, preferably to a 2022 date prior to Avatar 2's release. I'm not look. I'm not saying that Avatar 2 would not wipe the floor with Aquaman 2. I'm not saying that. There's a good chance that it actually would. But it's not because of necessarily of the long-awaited Avatar 2 release and fans, just wanting to flood the theaters. It's not that. It is DC's inability to really make consistent films. Aquaman, the original Aquaman did fairly decent. And it has Jason Momoa as the lead. I mean, that alone should be enough to give DC maybe some confidence to say, you know what? maybe it can stand up against, films, bigger films, like Avatar 2. Maybe there's enough DC fans out there. Maybe the Snyderverse really captured a lot of momentum for DC. Maybe that is enough to draw people to theaters to see it. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know. I mean, me personally, I would watch Aquaman 2 over Avatar 2 any day. I'm a huge DC fan, and I get it. Uh, you can say comics, DC, and so forth are their niche things, um, but they're niche things with gigantic fan bases. I mean, the idea that you feel like Aquaman 2 can't compete against anybody makes me kind of question of why are you even making an Aquaman 2 in the first place if you feel like it's not even worthy of top spot at the box office, no matter who it's going against. That concerns me. That kind of mindset bothers me as a DC fan because I think to myself, what are they doing at this point? Like what are they doing? They're not even trying to compete with the MCU anymore. They're barely trying to even stay afloat at this point. And that's unfortunately, the sad part of DC right now. And I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Hey, you know what? I'm sure if they changed up the dates, maybe gave it an earlier time. Definitely didn't set it against, Avatar 2. I think Aquaman 2 will do probably considerably better. It's just my little pet peeve in it when it comes to DC is the fact that it feels like it can't go against anybody, which to me just kind of shows you just the situation that DC is in right now. It says currently Warner Brothers release schedule for 2022 has Aquaman 2 as our final DC film releasing in 2022, following the Batman, DC League of Super Pets, Black Adam, and The Flash starring Ezra Miller, which, for the most part, a lot of people are excited about. Except for maybe, I don't know, DC's League of Super Pets. I'm not interested in seeing that. But as far as the Batman is concerned, oh, you betcha I'm excited to see that. And look, if that don't, like I said, if that doesn't get someone pumped to see Aquaman 2, I don't know what is. Like, I mean, you've got the Batman. Would you feel the same way about Aquaman 2 if instead it was the Batman? Where you feel, I mean, would they feel comfortable enough at that point to say, you know what? I bet the Batman could maybe, hold its ground. Maybe wouldn't necessarily be the top movie. But I think it could. I think it could handle some punches. I think it could throw some haymakers of itself when it come to box office results. I think it would still be incredibly successful. I think there's a lot of goodwill going towards the Batman. A lot of people are excited about seeing it, and of course, it's name recognition. And I'm curious about seeing it. I feel like Black Adam maybe is kind of a hit or miss. It might do great. It might tank. I don't know. I'm excited about seeing it simply because it's got The Rock, and I've been waiting for that for years for him to be Black Adam. So I'm curious as to see how that's going. I'd say The Flash. If you're wanting to talk about movies that would go against Avatar 2, I feel like Black Adam would fail. I feel like The Flash would fail. I feel like DC Super League of Super Pets would fail. The Batman, I think, can hold its own, but at the same time, I kind of feel like Aquaman 2 maybe could, simply because it's got Jason Momoa as the lead. I feel like might not get the top spot, but hey, you know what? I feel like it could hold its own and make a boatload of money. Like I said, that's just my biggest problem with DC right now. It's the lack of confidence. The lack of look. The way I just look at it is, don't put a film out there if you feel like it's not worthy of number one at the box office. Like, just don't even make a film if you feel like it's not worthy of that spot. I feel like maybe that's the problem with Hollywood now is too often a lot of these Hollywood studios don't care if they fail. as long as maybe they get one hit out of it a year. Let 10 others fail. I feel like just don't put out the 10 others. If you feel like you've got something golden, you've got something that is iconic, something that is going to be a classic going forward. Go with those movies. Don't just put out movies like, let's say, Aquaman 2. If you don't really believe that it's worthy of a top spot, I cannot stress that enough. I just hate that part of DC. I really do. That they're just throwing movies out there, hoping for something to stick, hoping to maybe at least stay afloat when compared to the MCU. And we're talking about a declining MCU that is still eons better. I mean, it's no comparison really at this point, and it's in decline, and it's still that way. DC, you just gotta get your act together. That's just the way I look. Put out some quality works. Put out some quality works. Get fans, get fans excited, um, and go from there. But just don't create movies that you feel like aren't worthy of top spot. That's just the way I look at it. But anyways, guys, let me know what y'all think. Do you think Aquaman 2 could compete with Avatar 2? Do you think it'd be a complete failure? Do you even think that Aquaman 2 is going to be a success in the first place? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching. Y'all take care.